Throughout cinema, there are several pivotal examples of characters who embody a complex depth of personality development on screen. One such character example is Jenny Curran, a young woman whose developmental patterns in life is unfolded throughout the length of the film Forrest Gump. The film Forrest Gump indirectly follows the character Jenny through her childhood, the trials of her adolescence and adulthood, and finally to her death. At the beginning of the film, the main character, Forrest, is introduced as a young boy who suffers from both physical and mental disabilities. As a result, Forrest experiences societal prejudice, finding it difficult to make his friends his own age. During these hard times in school, the film introduces Jenny, a young girl who befriended Forrest. As the film progresses, it follows both characters as they grow up, playing with each other, facing school bullies together, and eventually separating for college. As the film continues to progress, the main plot follows the life experiences of Forrest during adulthood, including the Vietnam War, a partnership on a shrimping boat, and eventually marriage. However drastically Forrest's life was altered, one thing remained constant: his continual, yet sporadic interactions with Jenny. These interactions occur throughout the duration of Forrest's lifetime, progressing Jenny's personality development through an abused childhood plagued by her father, an adolescence riddled with failed identity exploration, and finally an adulthood resulting in eventual identity resolution. In order to gain further understanding into the progression of character Jenny, her personality and its development can be examined through the lenses of the trait approach, behavioral genetics, and the social learning theory, and through the use of active person environments.
The very first glance into Jenny's personality is showcased on the school bus. At the beginning of the film, Forrest is seen continually being rejected by his schoolmates refusing to sit next to him due to his physical and mental disabilities. However, as he nears the back of the bus, one quiet voice offers him a seat. Here sits Jenny, a young girl who remains open to Forrest and his friendship, regardless of his differences. The trait approach, an approach described in The Personality Puzzle by Funder in 2019, is a personality approach that examines human behavior explained by the presence of various individual traits. While there are a variety of traits within this approach, the Big Five trait of openness is clearly displayed through the behavior of Jenny throughout the duration of the film. The Big Five trait of openness was found to correlate with higher scores on the sensation-seeking scale in a study completed by Aluha et al. In 2003. This scale examines an individual's level of seeking novel sensations and experiences. Some of these experiences can be sought through music, art, travel, and association with social nonconforming groups, including hippies, artists, and homosexuals. In the same study done by Aluha et al. In 2003, individuals who scored high on the sensation-seeking scale also tended to participate in high stimulating activities, including, but not limited to, the use of drugs, sex, and other illegal activities. Throughout Jenny's adult life, the trait of openness is clearly showcased through her participation in sensation-seeking activities, such as posing for Playboy magazine, becoming a hippie, using hallucinogenic drugs, and involving herself with multiple sex partners. Although the trait approach can explain the presence of these defining characteristics, the negative behaviors that resulted from her environment can be explored more thoroughly in the framework of behavioral genetics.
Throughout the film, additional information regarding Jenny's home life is exposed, including her abusive relationship with her father. During one particular scene, Jenny is seen fleeing the house accompanied by Forrest. At the moment that we see Jenny and Forrest run and hide in a nearby cornfield, Jenny's father, drunk and angry, exits the house screaming for Jenny. As the two children cower amidst the corn, Jenny pleads with Forrest to pray with her so that she can become a bird and fly far away from her home. The gravity of the impact that this environment had on the development of Jenny can be explored through the concept of behavioral genetics. According to research completed by Mullen in 2006, behavioral genetics studies the influence of genetics and environmental factors in determining trait projection in an individual. Mullen found that while there was no one determining factor responsible for personality trajectory, traits are modifiable under certain environments. This finding highlights the curious difference between Jenny and Forrest. If they both grew up together in the same hometown, going to the same school, and playing together in the same places, why did their development alter so distinctively? As stated by another study completed by Tikhoedev and Sherbakova in 2019, shared environments have little impact on personality development. However, non-shared environments showcase a significant impact on differentiation. Non-shared environments include individual traumatic events, internal processes, processing methods, and experienced parenting styles. In their study, Tikhoedev and Sherbakova examined monozygotic twins, finding that both internal and external non-shared environments impacted developmental differences associated with the individual's psychological personality. Therefore, in spite of Forrest and Jenny spending countless hours together, their home lives proved to be dramatically different. Forrest received love and support from his mother at home, helping him to learn to positively deal with his childhood trauma. In contrast, Jenny was physically and sexually abused by her father, leading to an unhealthy and traumatic home life environment. This difference in non-shared home environment was pivotal in determining the different developmental trajectories of Jenny and Forrest. As a result of the trauma in her home life, Jenny grew up and began to negatively cope with her trauma, leading to devalued sense of self, posing for Playboy in college, singing as a stripper in clubs, and continuing to maintain abusive relationships with men, with drugs, and with other substances. Although behavioral genetics helps to further understand the potential environmental impacts on development, the internal processes that translate these experiences into foundational beliefs and behaviors can be described through the social learning theory.
As an adult, while Forrest joins the Army fighting in the Vietnam War, Jenny joins the anti-war protests, becoming a hippie and involving herself in hallucinogenic drugs. The observed negative behaviors can be explained not only by the influences of the abusive environment Jenny grew up in, but also the behaviors modeled to her by her father that formed her internal processes. These internal processes can be explained using the social learning theory, which was defined by Tittle et al. In an article written in 2012 as the process of reinforcements in an individual's past shaping current cognitive definitions that influence future behaviors. This study was focused on criminal behavior and found that criminal, deviant, or non-conforming behaviors were highly influencing by what was modeled to the individual or reinforced through cognition. In the film, Jenny's father models many deviant behaviors. Having a strong role model is a necessary part of the social learning theory. In Jenny's childhood, her father modeled not only abusive behaviors, but also negative coping mechanisms. One of the ways Jenny's father chose to cope was through the abuse of alcohol. This was modeled to Jenny so naturally, when she faced pain as an adult, she turned to substance abuse through drugs. However, this abuse of substances was not the only behavior modeled to Jenny by her father that impacted her behavior throughout the film. Throughout the film, Jenny also floats in and out of many romantic relationships with abusive men. Jenny saw this behavior modeled by her dad from an early age, leading to the belief that she was nothing but an object. Jenny also showcased this behavior with Forrest, when she did not believe that anyone could love her, and therefore continued to leave Forrest. Instead, she continued to put herself into more negative environments that confirmed her beliefs.
Throughout the film, Jenny consistently involves herself in abusive relationships, confirming to herself that she is not able to be loved by anyone. In one specific scene, Jenny asks Forrest why he's so good to her. He replies by saying that she is his girl. However, because Jenny does not think she can be loved by anyone and sees herself as nothing, she leaves Forrest. This scene is a prime example in the film of Jenny using an active person environment. Funder 2019 defines an active person environment by explaining that an individual will seek out situations to involve themselves in that confirms their personality or avoid situations that they are incompatible with their personality. This behavior is showcased clearly by Jenny in the relationship she chooses to put herself in. The active person environment idea can also help to explain the stability of the trait of openness displayed in Jenny throughout the film. Mott and Harari, in a study conducted in 2021, explored environments individuals engaged in, as well as their corresponding Big Five personality traits. The study found that stable traits were linked with daily environments the individuals chose to put themselves in. This is evident in Jenny's life throughout the film. Jenny continued to stay involved with relationships and environments that reinforced her negative beliefs and the narrative of her past, but also that confirmed her openness to new experiences. Forrest is the only man in her life that ever truly loved her, but because of the belief that she wasn't good enough that was born from her abuse, and the absence of true love displayed by her father, Jenny repeatedly sought out situations that reinforced this idea. As a result, she continually leaves Forrest, instead finding abusive relationships and situations she thinks she deserves.
Overall, Jenny's personality development is highlighted through her traumatic childhood environment and the negative sensation-seeking behaviors that resulted from the stressful impacts of this environment on her personality traits. Therefore, because she was open to sensation and new experiences, but was tragically abused by her father as a child, Jenny learned to believe that she was worthless and unworthy of true love. As a result, she sought out environments that reinforced these beliefs and behaviors, leading to her posing for Playboy, experiencing the drug and hippie crowd, and partaking in countless physically and sexually abusive and promiscuous relationships. As a result, Jenny denied herself a future with Forrest, a man who truly loved her. Due to never experiencing true love from her father, Jenny was unsure of how to accept a vulnerable love. Furthermore, she believed that she must have deserved her abuse, and therefore, because of what she had done, did not deserve to be happy. As a result, this negative circular pattern of thinking continued to keep her from breaking free of her trauma. However, in the film, Jenny eventually does learn her worth and returns to Forrest to marry him. This raises the question of what occurred in Jenny's life after she left Forrest for the last time that helped her break the cycle of negative active person environment patterns that she had developed in response to her past. While the movie never gives an explicit answer to this question, it does provide hope that while the influences of negative environments are powerful, an individual certainly can overcome and live a happy and healthy life.